We have to start by saying that we did a show in Camden last night and it was kick-ass, and we are so tired right now.
We are completely, absolutely knackered.
We got up, we did a show, rocked the heck out. Did I say heck? I'm trying to keep it clean.
No, you say anything you want.
Well, we rocked the fuck out, and then we partied and then on the bus and ate, and then went to sleep. I went to sleep at 2 and got up at 5 because I'm jet lagged. I'm in California time, and here I am in Guildford, Andertons Music, Guildford, United Kingdom.
Yes.
And we don't normally shoot our videos in the store. We normally go out to our warehouse and shoot it. So
I kind of like it.
Wait, how many tubes did we ride today?
We rode all of the tubes. Ride all the tubes.
Now, because you're listening in America, what are you riding valves or are you riding tubes?
Oh, we're riding valves.
It's subways.
Oh, but he woke up and he was like, I need coffee. And then we had coffee. He's like, I want to go to London. So we went to London.
We went to London.
Went to all of London. We went to Big Ben and Trafalgar Square and Charing Cross.
See, I never heard of all that stuff, but I was there. Yes, we had a nice breakfast too.
You're gonna survive? Do you think you got 7 days of this in the UK?
Yeah, I mean, if I can sleep more than 3 hours tonight, that would be awesome. So I'm not gonna.
Well, we're going for an Indian, so I don't know if you want.
Yeah, that'll fill up the belly, and then I'm not gonna have any more coffee.
It's gonna smell like bus.
Beer and poppadoms and naan bread. What's your favourite Indian food?
I just like play donkey, pin the tail on the donkey and go.
They serve that actually. You've got the donkey tail.
Yeah, I don't want donkey tail. I don't want actual, but I do like the naan bread.
Yeah.
Hey man, let's relax! So what are we doing here, guys?
Right. Well, we want to know all about your gear and your rig.
Okay.
And because we went to chat about Rebecca Dirks recently on the way back from some random place, and we were talking about doing a video with her. And then we suddenly thought, wait a minute! What about your rig? Tell us all about your pedals and all.
Okay,
so this is the live, pretty much the live rig we've got here, isn't it?
Yes, this is pretty much the live rig.
So what we got?
Evil Robot, the US model, cranked fuck up. And somebody asked me, it's funny, like when you go out and play and people are like right at the edge of the stage and there's a guy actually standing in front of me going, what does that do? What do you use that for?
That's basically what we're doing.
I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to use it for tonight or if I'll even use it. So I have the tuner because I love the tuner. I love tuning quietly. I have the EP booster. This is what happens. Depending on the volume of the amp, sometimes it's too loud. Like in here, I'm trying not to make it too loud, so I'll use a little bit of the EP booster. So if I want more gain for my lead, I'll use the Bad Monkey. And if I want a little less, just a little bit of crispiness going on, I'll use the EP booster.
Is the booster just a straight line level booster?
Well, this is the thing, it's based on the Echoplex, because the Echoplex actually adds gain to your tone, right?
Okay.
So the thing is even when you don't have, it's got a knob, but even if you have it off, you still get that little bit of circuit thing going on, which it actually warms it up and adds a little bite to the sound at the same time, which it's really hard to get warm and bite, but it does it really nicely. So, and the Bad Monkey for me, $39, my favorite, overdrive pedal, because I find that it sounds like the amp just working harder and being hotter.
But how do you set your Bad Monkey though? Because I think a lot of people just would whack all the gain up and.
I usually have everything around 1 o'clock, depending on the amp. And depending on the room, everybody's like, "Wow, what are your settings?" But you know what? They're different in every room.
Right.
I start with the amp at 12 o'clock, everything at 12 o'clock. Well, actually, with the Evil Robots, I'll start with everything at 10. And if I'm using a Marshall, for instance, start everything at 12 o'clock and then flavor to taste. A little bit of salt, a little bit
When
of
you
pepper.
say everything at 10, you don't mean 10 o'clock. You mean gunned maximum.
Did I say 10?
You said, yeah. What did you mean? Did you mean 10 as in 10 out of 10?
Are you questioning me?
Yeah, that's my job.
I'm tired. It's 12 o'clock. I thought I said 12 o'clock.
On the Marshall you said 12, and then
12.
on the Evil Robot you said, actually you go 10.
Okay, not 10 o'clock. Everything on full blast.
Yeah, I see what you mean. So everything maximum.
Well, there we go.
I get it now.
So when I'm talking Evil Robot, I'm talking full blast, and when I'm talking Marshall, I'm talking 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
Time-wise. You know, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, that kind of thing.
4 o'clock rock.
I'll get to you later. Anyways, what my whole point is, you know, it's different in every room. Sometimes you're on a huge stage and you need a little more bottom end. Sometimes you're on a smaller stage, you need a little less bottom end. So it's hard for somebody to say, what are the settings you use? And somebody asked me the other day, well, hey, what should I use with a distortion pedal if I want to get the Jimmy Page sound, which you would never use a distortion pedal to get a Jimmy Page sound. But, you know, I guess it's not as obvious to some people, but you gotta really start using your ears, because people just crank up the gain all the time and you wonder why it doesn't sound like AC/DC, because they don't use a lot of gain. I don't use a lot of gain. I like to start with like an AC/DC-ish amount of gain for my main rhythm sound, and then if I want to Van Halen it out or go really gainy, then I'll use the Bad Monkey. But again, it's not gainy. Like I feel like if I'm getting feedback with my volume up, then I have too much gain. And the funny thing is sometimes you feel like you don't have enough gain, but when you go out front after the show, people are like, hey man, I could hear every note you played. And it's because I didn't use a lot of gain. You can't, I mean, it's very unforgiving. If you get really sloppy, you're going to sound really sloppy, but how you remedy that is practice.
Yeah. I can just attest to the fact that before the gig in Camden, which we rocked the shit out of, Phil and the Drills were in their dressing room for at least an hour, literally screaming through like a bunch of random tunes, because you don't have set list, do you?
Yeah,
no set list, just like he called a tune out, they'd rap through it, full volume vocals and guitars and a whole lot, and it was crazy.
And it's funny because Kevin, our drummer, was beating the shit out of that couch with his sticks.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, dude, man, take it easy on the
tiny
couch.
room.
Yeah.
And I had my pocket Marshall, and well, you know, the harmonies get the voices going, and we don't know what we're gonna do. And hey, are we gonna do Highway Star? Hey, Dan, why don't you try this harmony? And doing that kind of thing. And what the beauty about it is that, you know, when you get on a plane for 11 and a half hours, you touch down and you try to acclimate to where you're at, which is now the UK, and then you get into the dressing room because you did sound check and you're like, wow, I kind of felt winded after one song, and you're trying to get, so let's get some, energy drinks going and rock out in the dressing room, and then you get on stage and it feels great. It was hot though, I was sweating like a bastard. So what I love about having an amp at full blast is you get the amp working really hard, but if you want to boost it, people are like, what kind of booster pedal can I get? If your amp is at full blast, no booster pedal is going to do nothing except compress the sound, because you can't go higher than 10. So I don't switch to another amp, I add another amp to the sound so it spreads it out. And so I have two Evil Robots here. I have the head and cab of the US model, and I have the Asian version, which is the C30, and I blend the two together for my lead tone. And what ends up happening is you get everything's mic'd up, and out front it just thickens it and spreads it out and adds a little bit of volume.
So we've done the same, haven't we? With some of the best guitar tones we've ever had.
Yeah, been with two amplifiers.
And when we've got a classic kind of mark, actually we use the Blackstar. I think
Blackstar,
we get like a gain amplifier,
and
then we get a clean amplifier like a Fender, and you run the two together, and it's just
something happens to the harmonics when you get the right pairing of sort of preamps.
Exactly.
Like that. It's really interesting.
And my greatest find in the last year has been the Twin C ABY Radial Bones ABY pedal, because it comes with two switches that actually work. If I could plug two amps in and I'm hearing and I flick the ground switch, it goes away, which is what you want. Now the 180 switch actually works as well because it's a phasing situation. Sometimes you'll have two amps that don't want to work together and it sounds really thin. Well, when it sounds thin, you switch that 180 switch and it sounds thick. So
you know what that is? You probably do know what that is, don't you? But that's because phasing is when you've got speakers like this, and essentially what they should be doing is both doing this at the same time.
Right.
But actually what happens is, if they're wired...
it looks like boobs. It just looks like boobs.
I'm going to pretend these are speakers, and obviously when you're...
We saw, incidentally, some of those last night.
You did, I didn't.
Some people signed.
So if your amps are out of phase, what's happening is they're basically they're
Tiger style,
working against each other. So with a switch like that, the 180, what it does is it just takes one of the speakers and flips it so that they go back to moving the same.
You want to hear something else too?
Yep.
If you're in a studio and you record two wave files from two different amps, if they're out of phase, they won't start in the same spot. And what some people do is just nudge it so they do, and it solves this phasing issue. So if you're working on Pro Tools at home and you have phasing issues, you know all about that, right? What, am I hitting it?
No.
Okay,
So
so
after the hit.
yeah. Aha! So yeah, so, you know, there's a number of ways to fix it, but what you don't want is that out of phase sound while you're playing.
Yeah.
Right? So this pedal totally fixes that, and it's a really nice blue. Here's an example of what I'm talking about when it comes to the ground lift. I'm plugged into both amps, and without the ground lift, there's your hum.
I like that.
So, isn't that cool?
It's
Yeah, I
guitar.
like it.
It works. So, and check this out. Now let's get both amps going. This is both amps. And the best way to check the 180 switch is by chugging. You can totally hear the difference,
totally
right?
hear it.
One sounds nice and fat and one sounds kind of thin.
Yes.
So, that's why I swear by this pedal, and it's awesome and it's kick-ass.
And they're all for sale from here.
At Andertons.
.co.uk.
Where's my Andertons shirt,
Yes.
man? Except I never wear blue.
No, okay.
Send me a black one.
Even though we're on a blue tour bus.
You never
It's
wear
kind of
blue.
Smurfy, isn't it?
It is
Is that,
Smurfy,
is
yeah.
that,
It is kinda Smurfy.
Why don't you wear blue? Oh, it's my favourite colour.
You know what, Lee? I think we should make some black Andertons t-shirts.
Okay, I'll do it just for you.
specifically just so that Phil
Just
can
for
wear
Phil.
them one
Alright,
day.
I'll do it.
And for the
I'll send
kids
you
that
one.
like
Hey,
black
and
t-shirt.
then on the back, Phil X was here
Yes.
with a happy face. Okay, so and in the meantime, so I have the pedals, I have the amps, and check it out. This is my signature Yamaha
Yes.
SG.
Very nice.
You'll notice that it's a very beautiful white with this amazing, sexy black binding. And except this is Dirty Sanchez, and he's not going to come in every model. But he's fun, and he screams, and his eyes glow in the dark when he gets hit right by the right light. Are you guys like
Is it,
looking at my ass?
I'm assuming that Dirty Sanchez is the same in America as it is over here.
Hell yeah!
So I just did that.
And I noticed his finger smells.
Nice. All right. And you'll notice that while they're laughing, there's a signature there, and the only inlay on the fretboard, which is rosewood, is the X on
We
the
should tell
12th
them what
fret.
you're going to have in there rather than Dirty Sanchez.
Oh,
I think
yes.
it's really, really cool.
This is the actual base plate of the PX90, which is my custom pickup. And this is gonna be suspended and floating in this area here. So it kind of adds a kind of Phil X vibe to it.
Is it got
Because I can't get the license from Marvel Comics to stick Wolverine in there.
Do we know when this is coming or anything?
I was told September
Wow.
of this year, which is, in case you're confused,
2017.
isn't that amazing? We traveled in time,
Damn, we look young.
right?
No, 2012. So
2012.
September 2012.
So that's what's happening. Yeah. All right. But there was an indicator.
We should hear you play this epic rig that you've got here.
Well, I gotta admit, it sounds really bright in here because this is a very reflective
Live room,
room, right?
yeah.
Very live room. Last night sounded amazing. In the PA, I could hear that it sounded amazing. I'm not making excuses because it still kicks ass. And this is just an E chord. And that's just the one amp at this. And then I kick in the other one just so you hear what the C30 sounds like by itself. Now at home, when I'm in California, I'll use a C30, but I'll plug it into a different cabinet so I can have more speakers, like a 412 or a 212 instead of just a single 12. Because on stage I like a little more spread going. So so it's still a really nice sound. And together you get that kind of shit, man. So
Does it clean up nice if you need to do that? Or?
yeah, totally. I mean, my clean sound is usually pickup cleans up really nicely in this
Right.
guitar, the whole thing. Like I'm not really, and even spanking it, I turn down to 6 and I go. get all kinds of stuff, right? But you also get.
Most guitar players have got at least 2 pickups on the guitar.
This is okay. I have this thing. I am a tone geek, and I keep mentioning this, and it's funny because you know how it is when you say something. It's like telephone. Somebody's like, "Hey, how come you only use this one pickup?" And then somebody else will give your story, but it's way off.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it happens all the time. So let's clear it up right now. I personally believe, and not only just me personally believe, but I have a lot of, we have, me and my geek buddies, we have discussions about this. But it is actually true that even when a neck pickup isn't engaged, the magnets still pull on the string.
Strings, yeah.
So what happens there, and it kind of interferes with the true vibration of the string when it hits the treble pickup, which is the pickup I mostly use. Now this is a cool thing that I can do. I love the American Woman tone, which was the only tone that I was missing, not having the neck pickup.
Yeah.
But when I turn on the Bad Monkey and the EP booster and turn the tone off, I can go. So I'm kind of faking it with just my tone knob, right?
Just say that's f***ing badass.
It's badass, right?
That was badass.
So I even did it last night, and it's funny because some people are like, "Hey man, how'd you get that neck pickup tone with a neck pickup?" And I go, "It's Jordi Sanchez," but it's not really. It's the tone knob. So that's why I still use a tone knob because I love simplicity. I love just a volume knob because I figure you can get anything you want out of that. But now I can get the American Woman tone.
So Lee, how much does Phil X's pedalboard cost?
Actually, the most expensive pedal on there is the ABY pedal. The Bad Monkey's about £40. The EP9, I think, I'm going to get this wrong now, but I think it's about £100. Tuner's about £60, and the ABY is about £150.
And have you always used the Boss Chromatic tuner?
Always, since I can remember.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is though, I do this a lot lately. I get up. There's a cantina in Burbank, California, where there's a country band, and there's an amazing guitar/banjo player, and the best lap steel player I've ever seen in my life, a violin player, and they play these country songs, and I get up and jam with them, and I suck but it's a challenge, and but I walk in and I'll put one of the clip-on tuners and just plug straight into an Evil Robot combo and just jam with these, just turn everything up to 10 and start, and I don't know any of the songs, so I'm watching the other guitar player's left hand as a chart basically, and then when he says take a solo, I kind of like, what? And then I do, and then I do my best, and everybody gets a kick out of it, and it's a lot of fun. I like the challenge, but I also like the simplicity of just plugging in, so I don't even have to take those little clip-on things, as long as they don't look like.
Planet Waves chromatic headstock tuners, they're really good. I have 3 of them.
You have 3 of them? I like the one you can barely see.
That's the micro chromatic headstock tuner.
Yeah, sometimes it's a little alien eye, and that's like, that looks. So this is the cool thing about this tone is, even if you have your amp on your guitar on 10, if you want to clean it up a little bit, you turn it down and you do it. Let's go to 9. And it sounds really clear.
And why do these amps, the characteristic of this amp changes massively from when you've got the volume 3/4 of the way up, where it sounds okay, to where you go all the way up, and then all of a sudden.
I think it's adding a second stage of gain, isn't it?
I don't know, it's almost on the master section as well that happens. It's crazy kind of.
Well, now you're talking to me like I'm an architect or something, which I have no idea why, but. I always run them really fast. I'm really high, really full blast. It's ready to rock, and that's usually what I'm doing. Like, I don't know why it does what it does. I just like what it does.
Yeah.
And if it's on 10 and doing the job, then I don't have any questions.
But I mean, and I don't even mean in terms of volume. I like the sound of this. I would turn the volume up full and then actually have the guitar low if I wanted to play at a quiet volume.
And that's the beauty about these amps.
Good.
Yeah, the beauty of these amps is it cleans up really sweet. If, they got the right guitar. Now if you have maybe like a high output pickup, maybe it doesn't do it as much.
So
but a P90, a Strat, something with low output, even a humbucker, it's going to clean up nice. And that's usually my clean tone. I don't need a clean sound. It was like, the sound guy last night was basically like, okay, so what's your clean sound? I'm like, I don't got one.
You've never seen the drills before, have you?
Yeah. It's kind of funny though. Everybody's like, and I know what I'm giving the sound guy all the time. If you got the mic in the right place, you're getting a great tone. I just
Yeah.
know it and once in a while you get the guy that's like, I don't think the mids are right, and I'm like, yeah, is your EQ flat? Oh no, man, I got the mids off from the last guy.
Yeah.
So once he flattens it, then hey, there's the tone.
Yeah.
There was another time last time I played at the House of Blues. I was playing and playing and playing, and usually it's like I play a couple of chords and then it goes, wow, that's awesome. Let's move on to the bass player. But I just kept playing and playing and playing, and I was kind of wondering why it was, because it was different. And I'm like, dude, you got the tone right? And he's like, oh yeah, man, I just want to hear you play. I'm like, okay, well you're killing our sound check. Let's keep going. So this kind of thing. So I mean, it's good to know your gear.
Yeah.
Right. It's good to know your gear. I've gone into the studio and had to correct. I don't want to be a but if the guy goes, man, that amp's got no bottom end, I'm like, I think your mics are out of phase. Yeah. I'm like, I don't want to tell you how to do your job, but I know what my amp sounds like.
Yeah.
And that's basically it.